Shalom family, shalom gods. I'm coming again today with another video. And I want to, from the title, you guys can see, I think I'm going to title this, The Return of the Black Sun. Okay. And what else? The Return of the Black Sun. I had it in my head. Now I didn't forget. The end of the patriarchy. The end of the world. Okay. The end of the age. So, guys, I don't know how many of y'all got to the end of the last video where I read from the book Prophecy, and we talked about what the Great Conjunction meant, that it is a sign of the end of the world and the end of the age. So I'm going to read it just a few passages again out of here before we start talking, for those who didn't see the last video or didn't make it to the end of the last video. I know it was long. We got stuff to do. We can't sit there for hours and hours. That's why I've been trying to lately make the video shorter. But y'all know when Mother come with all this info, I don't have no choice. I'll be trying to give it all to y'all. Okay, so we're going to start right here. Okay, so I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what was happening. He was getting the information from the scryer who was looking through the crystal or whatever. And he seen about the Great Conjunction. Now, if you want to know the full, go back to the end of the last video and you can watch the end of the last video. I also have read this book before. I have videos on here and it's titled Prophecy, so I'll post those in the link. But it say, you cannot know the significance, Ned, of what your gifts has revealed to us this day. D replies, his manner now fatherly, but you have translated a prophecy most wondrous, most wondrous. He shakes his head slowly in admiration, then stirs himself and begins to pace about the study as he explains, resuming his authority, the teacher once more. While the seance occurs, he becomes dependent upon Kelly, but it is not his habit to be subservient. He is, after all, the Queen's personal astrologer. Once every 20 years, he says, holding up a forefinger. Let me exit out of here so I don't make a mistake and stop the video. Okay. Because I got to keep hitting the screen so it don't stop recording. Okay. So it says, forefinger like a schoolmaster. The two most powerful planets in our cosmology, Jupiter and Saturn, align with each other, each time moving through the 12 signs of the zodiac, every 200 years, give or take. This conjunction moves into a new trigon, that is to say, the group of 3 signs that corresponds to each of the 4 elements. And once every 960 years, I'm sorry, that message just came and distracted me. So where was I? Every 200 years, give or take, this conjunction moves into a new trigon. That is to say, the group of 3 signs that correspond to each other of the 4 elements. Once every 960 years, the alignment completes its cycle through the 4 trigons, returning again to its beginning in fire. For the past 200 years, the planets have aligned within the signs of the watery trigon. But now, my dear Ned, this very year, the year of our Lord, 1583, Jupiter and Saturn will conjoin once more in the sign of Aries. Now, we know this time that is conjoining in the sign of Aquarius. The first sign of the fiery trigon, the most potent conjunction of all, and one that has not been seen for almost 1,000 years. He pauses for effect. Kelly's mouth hangs open like a codfish. This is a momentous time in the heavens. This is a momentous times in the heavens. More than momentous, I say. Taking up the story. The coming of... Let me change the page. The coming of the fiery trigon signifies the dawn of a new epoch. So we are coming into the new age, the dawn of a new epoch, the age of Aquarius, okay? This is only the 7th such conjunction since the creation of the world and has been marked by events that have shaken history. Okay, so if this was the 7th, then the one that we're having now, I assume, is the 8th, which is the 8th day, which is the Sabbath day, which is the 1,000-year millennium reign, right? So it says, This is only the seventh conjunction since the creation of the world, and each has been marked by events that have shaken history. The flood of Noah, the birth of Christ, the coming of Charlemagne all coincide with the return of the fiery trigon. And this transition into the sign of Aries at the end of our troubled century has been prophesied by many as signifying the end of history. Okay, so this is the end of history, and it is the beginning of her story. Okay, this is the return to the matriarchy. Agrees, thoughtful. He has arrived in front of his tall perspective glass in this ornate gilt frame that stands in the corner by the west-facing window. Its peculiar property is that it reflects a true image and not the usual reversed image of an ordinary glass. The effect is unsettling. Now he turns to face us and raises his right hand in the glass. His reflection does the same. The astronomer Richard Harvey wrote of this present conjunction, either a marvelous, fearful, and horrible alteration of empires, kingdoms, and states, or else the destruction of the whole world shall ensue. I add. So he did, Bruno. So he did. We may expect signs and wonders, my friends, in the days to come. Our world will change beyond recognition. We shall bear witness to a new era. D is trembling, his eyes moist. Then the spirit in the stone, he came to remind us of this prophecy, Kelly asked, his face full of wonder, and to point to its special significance for England. D adds, his voice heavy with meaning. For what can it signify but the overthrowing of the old religion once and for all in favor of the new, with Her Majesty as the light of reason and understanding? So it's Her Majesty here they're talking about. So they're telling you that it was going to be a time of conjunction that was going to bring in the divine feminine, and that she is the light, which is everything that we've been talking about. So I'm going to stop it there. The point is, they're telling us outright that the conjunction is a changing of age. Okay, it's the end of one world to start a new world. The end of one age to start a new age. Now, the thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about was the coming of the black sun, which is what is going to happen at this conjunction. Now, Saturn is the black sun. Okay, and as they've duped us and reversed everything on us, told us Saturn was bad and Jupiter is good. Okay, well, I've come to find out that Jupiter is probably not so good, and Saturn is actually our mother. It's the planet that represents our mother, which is why it's smaller than Jupiter. Okay, they think it's small, weak, okay, insignificant. But it is the black sun. It is the sun. You know how they say that the people used to do sun worship? Okay, well, it wasn't the sun that we have. Okay, it was Saturn. It was a time when Saturn ruled the world, and it was called the Golden Age, and it was ruled by the divine feminine. Okay, and that black sun is returning. Now, that black sun is daughter Zion. Okay, I understood this one time I was reading Song of Solomon, and let me just pull it up. Look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyards have I not kept. So in Song of Solomon, daughter Zion say, look not upon me because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me. What sun is she talking about? She's not talking about our sun. She is talking about Saturn, the black sun. Now, many of us are under the impression that Saturn is a red planet. It's not. Saturn is described as a pale planet, okay? Pale. Let's look at this word pale. Now, we know pale can mean black, right? So pale can mean black, but let's just look at all the words that they give us for pale here in the Wiktionary. So pale, we got pale, light in color. Okay, having a light color, especially due to sickness, shock, fright. His face turned pale after hearing about his mother's death. Now, one thing that I that I thought about instantly when I read that, let me just pull it up, is all faces shall turn pale. Joel 2 is about when these 144,000 daughters come. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh. For it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run, like the noise of the chariots. Okay, so it say mighty, they shall run like mighty men. It's telling you that these is not men, these are women. And they gonna run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. But these is women. These is your 144,000, okay? And it say what? All faces shall turn pale before them, okay? Pale. All faces before their face, the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness or paleness. Sometimes it say pale. It said multiple times, and this is even a verse in the Quran, because I shared this verse on my Facebook when I was studying the Quran, and I was matching scriptures from the Bible and from the Quran and putting them together on my Facebook. I'm gonna have to go back. It's so far back. Maybe I can just type in Quran on my Facebook and it'll pull up. But I was doing that because I wanted to show people that they was the same, and that we don't need to fight over which one is true, because they both is true. Allah is the name for Most High. God, that's the name of our God, the Most High. Okay. So I was doing that for that fact, but it says the same thing in the Quran, that all faces will turn pale. Okay. Therefore, thus saith the Lord who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. Okay. So it's a few verses talking about the face is wax pale, and that's what I thought about when I was reading that. So, pale, face to wax pale, feeble, faint. It say, the scriptures say all the sons is gonna faint. Okay, I think that's on like Jeremiah 40 something, 51. The sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God. Okay. It also say, I think it's in like Isaiah 40 something, where it say, Isaiah 40. Yep. So it say, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Okay, these is the daughters, the 144,000. The woman was given wings of an eagle. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. The time on the last video, I think, was to mount. Was it the last video or the video before? They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. But it's one that talk about the sons, and they say that all the sons are going to faint. And I can understand why. They ain't ready. They don't know what's coming. You know, we got all of these Hebrew Israelite men talking about feminism, and it's going to be the end of feminism and all of this stuff you women talking about. Well, they don't even know that it's going to be actually the exact opposite, okay? And they better get with the program quick, because this Mama Callie, she coming to chop off heads. We is going to talk about this. Let's get back into the definition. So what did Jesus say? I come not to bring peace. I come to bring a sword. Okay, see, we got to understand that wasn't Jesus speaking right there. Okay, he say, these is not my words. These is the words of the mother. So listen, feeble, faint. Okay. Pale in comparison. To turn pale, to lose color, to become insignificant, to make pale, to diminish the brightness of. Okay. Now, etymology 2 say a stake, a prop, a stake, a prop. Okay. And we talked about Vlad the Impaler and the stake and the two witnesses being on stakes. Okay. And, we talked about all of that, but one of the things that stood out to me about Vlad the Impaler was that he was wearing an 8-pointed star. And I told y'all that in that video. I said, now, I don't know if this is, I said, because Vlad the Impaler was wearing an 8-pointed star, meaning he was representing the mother goddess, okay? I don't know. Could have been representing her in a bad way, but I'm saying what we might got to look forward to if you don't get right. You might be looking at that stake, okay? A prop, a stake, a prop. Whew, I better get right. Stake, a picket, a fence, limits, bounds. Look, pale, archaic, a territory or a defensive area within a specific boundary or under a given jurisdiction. It say the parts of Ireland under English jurisdiction. A portion of Russia in which Jews were permitted to live. The jurisdiction, territorial or otherwise, of an authority. Okay, let's keep going. And pale, cheek, shovel, spade, blade. Okay, a blade. I come to bring a sword, vein, a windmill, etc. To talk, to speak. We said what? Mary means to what? To speak. To talk. To speak into existence. We said the mouth of God is what? The vagina. Pale means priest. It means a wrestling. Okay, a wrestling with God. Wrestling with God, I don't really want to wrestle. Okay, I don't really want to wrestle. Noun. It means hand. Pale means hand. Hand. It seemed like hand then came up in the last 3 videos, y'all. The hand. We know daughter Zion is the hand. Worker. Okay. You got to do the work. I was just talking to somebody earlier who was trying to hit me with the grace doctrine. And I said, you got to do the work, baby. You got to do the work. Pale, whitish. Okay. So, y'all see that? So pale mean black, and this is why it's called the black sun. Now let's read a little bit about it. Before we go there, I was talking about Jupiter and Saturn and how they duped us and told us Saturn was bad and Jupiter was good. Saturn is really mother, is the good, and Jupiter is really bad. Let's look at Jupiter, okay? They tell us Saturn is red, but Saturn is not really red. It's pale or black. Some people say it's white, but same difference, okay? Pale, black. It ain't red, though. That's my point. It's not red. Jupiter is actually a red planet. It has a great red spot. Okay, look at Jupiter. It's actually red. Jupiter is actually the great red dragon. Okay, Jupiter is the 5th planet from the sun and the largest in the solar system. It is a gas giant. Okay, now the reason why I'm pointing this out is because it is a giant. It is a giant. It is the biggest planet in our solar system, okay? And it was giants in the earth in those days. People who worship Jupiter. People who worship Jupiter. Let's look up Jupiter. What is Jupiter? It was giants in the earth in those days, okay? I told y'all giants mean tyrants. And these people worship Jupiter, which means father, okay? Father. We are not at the patriarchy. The patriarchy is about to die. So, Jupiter, which was ultimately derived from the Indo-European diapater, composed of the elements of Dionysus, Zeus, and Pater, father, which is Peter. Okay, now I done told y'all I told y'all that Jesus called Peter Satan, and it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a hee ha ha, I'm just calling you Satan as a term of, slang. No, he was telling y'all that Peter was Satan. And Peter is said to be the first pope. And I told y'all the pope is the son of perdition, okay? Do y'all know the Pope that we have now is starting? I was gonna make a video on it. I'm gonna do a video on it. He trying to start up the what is they called? Basically the Inquisition. He trying to start up the Inquisition again, okay? But I forget the specific name for it. I'll talk about it in another video just to stay on point. So Father, Jupiter is Father, Peter, Pope, Satan, the gates of hell. Okay, Saturn is the gates of heaven, the black sun, daughter Zion. Okay, I am black because the sun have looked upon me. So, Father, Jupiter was the supreme god in Roman mythology. He presided over the heavens and light and was responsible for the protection and laws of the Roman state. This is also the name of the fifth and largest planet in the solar system. So Jupiter is the fifth planet and it is the largest planet in the solar system. Okay. It is the giant. Okay. And it was giants in the earth in those days. It was tyrants in the earth in those days. It was patriarchy in the earth in those days, okay? Listen to what I'm trying to tell y'all. So let's look at the black sun. Let's look about the black sun a little bit. Now, of course, this is just, comic book stuff. But let's just look at what they said about it. Because this tripped me out. They start talking about Lilith as the black sun. Okay, black sun is a reference to a solar eclipse, better known in the context of the curse of the black sun, or the mania of the mad Etibald. It was prophesied by the mage Etibald that an eclipse foretold the end of human civilization in the hands of 60 girls born during the black sun, which would turn them into cruel creatures who would bring about the return of the goddess Lilith and the end of the world. Now, I told y'all they was going to demonize us. 144,000 daughters of Zion demonized. They want to make us the evil people, okay? I'm sorry, I got to stretch my shoulders. It's hurting because of the way that I'm sitting in the bed holding this phone up. All right, let me sit up. Okay. Now, I told y'all they was going to demonize us, who turned them into cruel creatures who would bring about the return of the goddess Lilith and the end of the world. The girls were supposed to have been possessed by demons, cursed, contaminated by the black sun, because that's what, in your pompous jargon, you call the most ordinary eclipse in the world. Okay, look. It says, Etibald wasn't mad at all. He deciphered the writing of dark menhirs on tombstones in the Wasgor necropolises and examined the legends and traditions of Wertotes. All of them spoke of the eclipse in no uncertain terms. The black sun was to announce the imminent return of Lilith, still honored in the East under the name of Naya, and the extermination of the human race. Lilith's path was to be prepared by 60 women wearing gold crowns who would fill the river valleys with blood. Okay. Let's click on Naya really quick. Let's say, the black sun was to announce the imminent return of Lilith, still honored in the East under the name of Naya, and the extermination of the human race. Lilith's path was to be prepared by 60 women bearing gold crowns who would fill the river valleys with blood. Lilith, or Lilith, is a goddess or a demon, still worshipped in the East under the name Naya. Okay. Still worshipped in the East under the name Naya. While revered by Easterners, Northerlings believe that she will return someday and bring ruin to the world. Sorcerer Etibald, believed by some to be a prophet and by others to be a madman, claimed to have deciphered the ancient dogs, Wasgor, and Werbub legends were connected to the return of Lilith with the eclipse known as the Black Sun. Her path was to be prepared by 60 women wearing gold crowns who would fill the river valleys with blood, which he interpreted as girls of royal families born during or after the eclipse. While It is theorized that the cult of Lilith was started by non-humans. Its beginnings are lost to the history. The eldest people known to worship her were the Wolsgor, primitive tribes inhabiting regions of modern-day Magturga, Giso, Kavir. Here y'all go. Y'all know I ain't about to do these. According to the tales, they used to offer their goddess blood sacrifices. When Northern kings started establishing their realms, most of the Wolsgor were either killed or forced to escape east, to which they brought the cult. The remaining Wolsgor mixed with eastern populations, and the cult of Lilith transformed into syncretic religion of Lilith Naya. It gained popularity in certain regions of Hochland, but the true center was established in Zerikania, where its matriarchal character swayed many women across the country and the elites, endangering the state religion of the divine dragons. Okay, the divine dragons. So who's the dragon? Jupiter, Father, Peter, Pater, Rome, Pope. Look. Who was mother? Saturn, matriarchy. Okay. The West, it became known mostly from old legends and relations of merchants from the East. Often exaggerated, those tales portrayed Naya as a demonic entity posing a threat to the world. So Etebal's prophecy fell on fertile ground to provoke anti-Lilith sentiments. Now, one thing I want to tell y'all, okay, so I said the Great Sun down here. After the Northern Wars, Lilith Naya started to gain some followers in the Northern Kingdoms and the Nilfgaardian Empire, partially comprised of men who believed that bowing before the cruel goddess would ensure their safety during the prophesied apocalypse. Okay, the apocalypse. Only way to... This is why you see, who was it, Shiva bowing down to Kali? Okay, was it Shiva? I might not be saying the right guy, but... Point being, the man bowing down to the woman, okay, because he was trying to appease the anger, okay. Y'all know what Ezra said, and he would, what did he say about the man? He said he would do anything to flatter, to get back in her good graces, okay. So it's partially comprised of men who believed that bowing before the cruel goddess would ensure their safety during the prophesied apocalypse, partially of women and children who were hurt by the horrors of war. The cult was growing quickly, eventually becoming a local opposition to the Church of the Great Sun in certain regions of the empire. Okay, so now we talked about this great conjunction, 1221, 921. I said the day was 923. Now our 923 is actually our 923 or December 23rd is the 24th day. So it's 924 on the 23rd. The 23rd. Look. Okay, wait a minute. So 923 is, 24 is the 23rd day. The 25th is the 24th day. Okay, so 924, which is the day that Haggai talked about, is our Christmas day. Okay, and I want to just read y'all that, starting at verse 18. Let me close my door back because they kids out there. Consider now from this day and upward, from the 24th day of the 9th month, even from the day that the foundation of the Lord's temple was laid, consider it. Is the seed yet in the barn? Yea, as the vine and the fig tree and the pomegranate and the olive tree have not brought forth, have not given birth, from this day I will bless you. Have not given birth. So what is this? This is Revelations 12. This woman give birth Christmas. Revelations 12. And the olive tree, okay, say, is the seed yet in the barn? Yet as the vine and the fig tree and the pomegranate and the olive tree have not brought forth, from this day I will bless you. And again, the word of the Lord came into Haggai in the 24th day of the month, saying, speak to the Zerubbabel, governor of Judah. And we know the governor is who? Daughter Zion. Saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth. I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. By the sword of his brother? No, by the sword of his sister. Okay, and I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his sister. In that day, saith the Lord of hosts, will I take thee, O Zerubbabel, my servant, the son of Shealtiel, saith the Lord, and will make thee as a signet, for I have chosen thee, saith the Lord of hosts. I really believe that the chosen, the 144,000, is going to know who they is when they born at Christmas, okay, 9/24. It say, from this day, I will bless you. You shall bring forth from this day. You will be born again from this day. 9/24, right? That's Christmas. And they say that that's the day that Christ was born. Okay, I did a video about that was the day that Christ was born. It's not a physical day that he was born. It is a spiritual rebirth. It's the day that he was reborn. Okay, resurrected from the dead. So this, I can't believe I didn't put all this together sooner. I did that video probably 2 years ago, Christmas, because so many people have a problem with celebrating Christmas. They think it's pagan, this, that, and the third. It's pagan if you pagan. I'm going to put it that way. It's pagan if you pagan. If you a sinner, you don't keep the commandments, and then you putting up a tree, that tree is representing the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you keeping the commandments, you righteous, that tree is representing the tree of life. Okay, that tree is what you is. Okay, it's whatever you are. So I smote you with the blasting, with mildew, and okay. I smote you with the blasting, with mildew, and with hail, and all the labors of your hands, yet ye turn not to me. So we need to turn to mother, okay? It say, we need to turn to mother. You turn not to me. It say, I will bless thee. To get the blessings, we know we need to do what? Turn you to the stronghold. Turn you to the stronghold for the double blessings, okay? Turn you to the stronghold for the double blessings. Turn you to the stronghold, you prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee, okay? Who is the stronghold? Daughter Zion, Micah 4, okay? O and thou, O tower of the flock, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion. The kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Now why doest thou cry out loud? Is there no king in thee? As thy counselor perish, for pangs have taken thee as a woman in travail. Now I really think that I really don't think she giving birth to the man child. I think his daughters, okay? And I've said this before to myself. I haven't made a video about it. It was some scriptures that led me to believe that she was giving birth to a daughter and not a son. Well, she gave birth to twins, okay? It's one scripture that say one is born in one day. How can a nation be born in one day? Okay, and that's the 144,000. And then the rest is the rest of the children, okay? So it's a man child, but we got to understand that Jesus said, what about Mary Magdalene? He said, I will make her like a man, okay? And God gave me that act like a woman, act like a lady, think like a man, okay? So all the time that it's saying man, we got to understand that it's not talking about man. Because somebody asked me that, they said, so what about all the prophecies about the man? And I'm like, you got to understand, it's not really talking about man, okay? It's not really talking about man. That's why you got to put the precepts together. So, there shalt thou be delivered. There shall the Lord redeem thee from the hands of thine enemies, okay? And I'll say, also many nations are gathered against thee that say, let her be defiled. So the gathering we talked about, you gather together at Thanksgiving, which we talked about in the last video. You gather with your family and you feast, okay? The wedding feast is Thanksgiving, okay? Which we said is Hanukkah, which also falls on Christmas Day this year. Okay. 9th month, 24th day. Okay. Now let's so return to mother. Let's see how we know it's mother that we need to return to. What is the scripture? It just slipped my mind. But thou sayest, where shall we return? Thank you, mother. Even from the days of your fathers, you are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord of hosts. But ye said, wherein shall we return? Well, I'm going to tell y'all where y'all return. Return to the matriarchy. Return to Mother God. Job 1. And behold, there came a great wind, a great woman from the wilderness. This is the daughters who went into the wilderness and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And only I am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job rose and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb. Naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be the daughter of the Lord. And all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Return to the matriarchy. Wherein shall we return? Return to your mother. Our mother above is free, and she is the mother of us all. Now, Revelations 12, we can see that this is Revelations 12 taking place. Let's look at Revelations 12. So this born, and she gave birth to a man-child that was caught up to God. It's debatable if it's actually a man-child, because I think it's the 144,000 daughters, okay? Christ says she will be like man, okay? And this is why I just read y'all for Joel 2, which said they shall run like mighty men, but they're not man. This is why I say like mighty man. And even when we get into Revelations and we start talking about the Almighty, okay, and to say one like unto the Son of Man, that means like the Son of Man, but it's not a man. It's somebody who is like, it's a daughter, okay? A daughter is like a son, but they are different, okay? Like unto the Son of Man, one like unto the Son of Man. It's not the Son of Man, it's one like unto him, which is his sister, okay? And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, Jupiter, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head, and his tail drew a third part of the stars in heaven, and did cast them to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which is ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God, unto her throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she have a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels, which Michael here is not a male. Okay, do y'all know that Michael, okay, it's a daughter in the scripture. Her name is Michel, Michel. Remember the video I posted about the show Dark, okay, the show Dark that I was watching, and I posted y'all that one clip from the 927. Let me show y'all. Y'all need to watch this show Dark. But the first 2 seasons, this right here, just look at the cover. You see it's a man on one side in the darkness, it's a man, but when we get into the light, where you see the light, the cave is dark behind him. And behind her, the cave is light, because it's showing you that Jesus was not the light, okay? He was a representation, but he wasn't the one. It's her, his sister, who is the one. She is the light. That's why it shows you it's going to be a woman just like Jesus, okay? Y'all see that? Y'all see how they showing y'all that? They got the same yellow coat on. It's like different dimensions. Now, what happened was they lived in 2 different dimensions. They was the same person well, not the same person, but they was the same people in each other's lives, but in different dimensions. Now, in his dimension, he was the main character, but in her dimension, she was the main character, okay? And she came to his dimension to help him save his world, because both of their worlds was dying, okay? Point is, in this show, they showed you that it was her who was she was the light, basically. So Christ is going to be somebody like Jesus. She's going to be just like Jesus was, but she's going to be a woman. Okay. Now, in that show, okay, the reason why I brought up that show, because the guy, his father's name was Michael. Okay. Now, Michael in the Bible is actually a daughter. Now, Michael means this. It's the same word as Michael, and it means who is like God, but it's a daughter, and she was Saul's daughter. She was married to David, and her name was Michael, and it means who is like God. Okay, and I think that's what it's saying. There was war in heaven. Michael and her angels fought against the dragon, not Michael. Okay, Michael. And the dragon fought in his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. Because why? Because we are going into the return of the black sun, okay? And the dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of her Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of the testimony. Now, the blood of the Lamb, that blood, it means kinswoman, the wife, by the wife of the Lamb. And they overcame him by the wife of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, who is the word, or the Zion. And they loved not their lives unto death. Okay. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the habitation of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. This is the shortening of days, right? We talked about this in the last video. And when the dragon was cast out, he was cast into the earth. He persecuted the woman, which brought forth the man child. And to the woman were given wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, in her place where she is nourished for a time, times and a half a time. Okay. So this is December 12th. This stuff is going to happen. The child is going to be born. Now, I think it's possibly talking about the 144,000 daughters. But then again, the 144,000 daughters could be the woman. So it's very tricky to pinpoint this down, because it seemed to be saying that the 144,000 is the man child that's born. But then we also have the foreshadowing of them being the woman, or it could be the woman is the Holy Spirit, God, and giving birth to the daughter. So either way, what's happening is the birth on December 21st, whether it's the man child or the daughters, the daughters giving birth to the husbands, which is what which was my first understanding. The daughters giving birth to the husbands, the man child, and they were called up to God, which is probably the right interpretation, okay? But it was something that I read that made me believe, in here, I just can't think of where it was right now, that the person holding the rod was a daughter, okay? It says, should my rod... Okay, never mind. Let's continue. But anyway, the point that I want to show y'all is that this Revelations 12 is the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction. Right after that, we go on to Revelations 11, because Revelations 12 say, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of God and have the testimony, okay? And have the testimony. Now we get to Revelation 11, and there was given me a read, and the rise and measure the temple. Now what did Haggai say? That the temple was going to be laid. Okay, the temple was finished. But the court which was without the temple, leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city should they tread under foot for 42 months, and I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 260 days, clothed in sackcloth. We about to see the 2 witnesses. This is the timeline I believe we're on. I believe the December 21st, great conjunction, chosen, the 144,000 gonna know who they is. I don't know if everybody gonna know who they is, but I really believe they gonna know who they are. And Because what did Haggai say? I have chosen you. This day I will take you. Okay. And the child was called to God and to his throne. So this is the timeline I think that we're on. Okay. Great conjunction, which is the war in heaven, which I've already said that, but I didn't have the understanding of it that I have now. I know it was the war in heaven. I did a video on it probably 2 years ago, but I was under the impression that Saturn was the dragon. You know what I'm saying? That Saturn was the dragon. See, and I had Lilith, the great dragon, the god of the kings of the earth. This video was like partly true and partly false. Okay. But I didn't delete it because it was partly true. And I told y'all in the next video that it was all reversed, that it wasn't the woman in the garden who was deceived. I really believe it was Adam, but we're going to get into that in the next video. The next video, we're going to talk about the garden and what actually happened in the garden and who actually all was there and what actually was all going down, okay? Let's see. I'm trying to find a great conjunction video. I know I have some older ones. The Great Conjunction 2020. So I'm going to link this one and the prophecy. So these was 2 years ago. Yeah. So I knew it was a long time since I did these videos. The Great Conjunction 2020 and prophecy right here. So I'm going to link these in the description so you guys can watch them. And also the 3 Days of Darkness 2020. Yeah, because in the 3 Days of Darkness, I said that we will possibly see we either about to see the two witnesses appear, or we about to see them get killed. I really think that they about to appear though, and then in the three they'll prophesy for 3 years to that next great eclipse in 2024. But this is not set in stone. This is just what I'm thinking with this. This video was everywhere. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say to y'all. Oh, the black sun. That's not everything that I wanted to say. Sorry, y'all. So the black sun, this is the return of the black sun. I done got way off subject, okay? This is the return of the black sun. So let's read about that a little bit and then we're going to end the video. Confusion and the time of the return of the divine feminine. What did the scripture say? They're going to all be confounded. You may have heard a rumor or two about the return of the divine feminine. The rumor turns out to be 100% true. As we prepare to embrace the unknown at the threshold of the age of Aquarius, we start to sense her presence more and more. One by one, she touches our hearts and quickens our spirits. Many are feeling the calling to be of service and help prepare the way, just as many felt a calling to help prepare the way for the Messiah at the start of the era of Pisces. The age of Aquarius. However, things are very different this time. The age of Aquarius is an age of equality. The divine feminine is not coming to cause further division by seeking comforts or the formation of religious factions. She does not want our money. She is not in the business of trading her secrets for gold. Clues about the gentle nature of her energy are found in the star card in the Tarot. This card corresponds with the zodiac sign of Aquarius. During the most recent new moon in Aquarius solar eclipse, there was a subtle shift of energy that helped many of us achieve greater clarity about the nature of the divine feminine. The 8-pointed star and the Visconti Tarot star card is both a sign of God's grace and the divine feminine. Stella Maris. In both the Maricel and RWS Tarot, the outpouring of water is a sign of grace. The 8-pointed star is connected with the goddess Venus. It takes 8 years for the planet Venus, aka the morning star, evening star, to return to the same place in the heavens after forming a beautiful 5-petal rose pattern. Before the worship of the goddess Venus, this same association was made for the Sumerian goddess Inanna, known as Ishtar, to the Eastern Semitic population. Inanna, which is also not Yahweh, was known as the Queen of Heaven. In Christianity, Mary was crowned in her place. The return of the divine feminine in big spirit biz. Many seek to profit from seekers who have received the calling to be of service to the divine feminine. There are countless online programs and courses and weekend workshops, books, and webinars that you can sign up for. They all purport to know the secret about what it is you are looking for. You can download the Awakening Code or learn the secret channel by so-and-so if you only pay. In big spirit biz, anything goes. If it can make a quick buck. And right now, those operating the PR machinery are seeking to make some serious money out of the divine feminine in general and Mary Magdalene in particular. Good news, the calling of the divine feminine is to go within where the answers can be found, and it's free. Your Magdalene calling. To heed the calling of the divine feminine is to heed one's Magdalene calling, though it does not really matter if you call it that. It's about service and devotion from a place of authenticity. When we heed this calling, we experience the unfolding of the petals of the heart chakra, roses of all colors, important symbols to Magdalenes for many reasons, and it is clear to see why. Okay, so I'm not going to read this whole thing because it wasn't really telling. Okay, we're going to read this little bit right here because I did read this one. And it was real, didn't have much to say, but the little that it said was very forward, straight to the point. The age of Aquarius represents the return to a higher frequency of light and energy, which vibrate faster and bring consciousness to higher levels of awareness. Aquarius represents the feminine archetype, the goddess or priestess. It also connects with the right side of the brain, which is the intuitive, creative side of our experience in third dimension. Aquarius represents the higher chakras, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. Aquarius is the return of the flood stories witnessed now in change in climate, weather patterns, floods, and accelerating meltdowns at the North and South Pole. There's the 26,000-year cycle of time called the precession of the equinoxes. Approximately every 13,000 years, the cycle changes from the masculine energies, Leo through Pisces, to the feminine energies, Aquarius through Virgo. And Jesus came during the Pisces to tell us we are going into Aquarius. And I don't believe he said enter the house. So you'll see a man with a water pitcher enter into his house. I think he said you're going to see a woman with a water pitcher enter into her house, which is the same thing that he told his mother Mary. He said, this is your daughter, talking about Mary Magdalene, and to say Mary went with her into her house. Mary went with Mary Magdalene into her house, not to his house, okay? To the feminine energies, Aquarius through Virgo. We have entered the timeline of Aquarius, she who turns humanity to higher frequencies, and the spiritual teachings lost approximately 13,000 years ago at the age of Aquarius, when human consciousness spiraled down to third dimension to experience duality, linear time, and emotions. This is all based on the blueprint created by sacred geometry. Okay, so that was a very little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, but we're gonna talk about Lilith, Lord, because that was something new. Lilith, the goddess, the black sun. They always demonized her and said she was a demon. We're going to talk about it. Y'all got some information on this? Drop them comments below. Shalom, family. I love you guys. I love you guys. Until we meet again.